ค I will now call the January 14th, 2025 San Diego County Board of Supervisors special meeting to order. As a reminder, according to the board rules of procedures, audience members shall not whistle, clap, stomp feet, or do anything to disrupt the proceedings. Andrew, can you please call the roll?
Thank you, Vice Chair Lawson-Remer. Supervisor Anderson? Here. Supervisor Montgomery-Stepp?
Here.
Supervisor Desmond? Here. Vice Chair Lawson-Remer?
Here. So we will begin today with item 1 on the special meeting agenda entitled Filling the Vacancy of the 1st District County of San Diego Supervisor. I will now hand it over to Andrew Potter for a presentation.
Thank you, Vice Chair Lawson-Remer and members of the board. The item before you today is consideration of the process to fill the vacancy of the 1st District County Supervisor. The process to fill a vacancy on the Board of Supervisors is described in the county charter. The board has 3 options: fill the vacancy through an appointment, call a special election, or make an interim appointment until a special election. The selected supervisor, whether by appointment or through a special election, would serve the remainder of the unexpired term with a term ending Monday, January 8th, 2029. It is important to note that the charter requires the board to take action within 30 days of the vacancy, meaning an appointment must be completed or the special election must be called by February 5th, 2025. I'll begin with a high-level overview of the options, and I recognize the slide is complex, so I'm going to touch on each option briefly, and then we'll go into more detail to describe the processes for each option. Option 1 would provide the board the ability to make an appointment by February 4th, 2025. Option 2 would set a special primary election on April 8th, then a special general election on July 1st if no candidate receives a majority vote at that primary. Option 3 is essentially a combination of both options 1 and 2. The processes described will be followed concurrently. Let's go into more detail about each option. And we'll start with option 1, filling the vacancy by appointment. The process to fill the vacancy by appointment is described in Board Policy A39. The board policy provides timelines for the process that would allow for public engagement. In general, the process would include an application period and 2 public hearings. The vacancy could be filled by February 4th, 2025. There would be no significant costs associated with the appointment process, as my office could absorb any minor costs. This slide shows the proposed timeline for the process. If approved, the application period would begin tomorrow, January 15th. Applications would be due by January 27th at 5 p.m. Then the board will interview all qualified applicants. In accordance with the board policy, applicants will be given 3 minutes to make a presentation. After that, the board will have an opportunity to ask questions of the applicants. The public will also have an opportunity to speak. This could occur at a special meeting on January 29th. At that time, the board will select up to 5 finalists. At the second hearing, the board will interview the 5 finalists and select an appointee. The finalists will be given 10 minutes to make a presentation. Then the board will have an opportunity to ask each applicant questions. Again, the public will have an opportunity to speak, and this could occur at a special meeting on February 4th. For both public hearings, the board will make their selections on written ballots that I will provide. I will announce the results publicly, noting each supervisor's votes. It is anticipated that the appointee would be sworn in the following day on February 5th. The proposed application, which is included as Attachment A to the board letter, meets the requirements of the board policy, requiring applicants to list their residence for the past 5 years, their employment history, a written statement outlining their qualifications, and a statement asking why they wish to be appointed. In terms of the application process, applications would be available online in a fillable PDF. Applicants must also submit a statement of economic interest or a Form 700. All received applications would be posted online after the filing deadline. There are several requirements to apply to be a county supervisor. Applicants must be a registered voter in District 1 and a citizen of the United States, must be a resident of District 1 for not less than 30 days preceding the application. Applicants must not have been convicted of any crime that would disqualify the applicant from holding elected office. And the selected applicant must be able to assume the position within 3 business days of being appointed. This is a summary of the proposed outreach that includes print publications, physical postings, and social media. This is similar to outreach that was conducted for previous appointments to elective office. I'll note that depending on the timeline selected by the board, the ability to have notices printed in community newspapers may be limited due to publication deadlines. One last consideration for option 1 is the timing of a special election if the board does not select an applicant for appointment. If the board is unable to agree on an applicant, then the board would be required to call a special election. The election dates would then be April 29th and July 22nd. If the board chooses this option, then it is recommended that the board take the actions outlined in the board letter and listed on this slide to approve the process, approve the application, and set the dates for the hearings. Subject to any questions, I'll move on to describe the second option.
I have a question.
Yes.
For that option, is it possible for the board to prohibit anyone appointed to fill a vacancy? I guess this would be the third option, for them prohibit them to run for a special election.
Well, I'll describe it in the third option.
Okay,
Yes,
great, thank you.
Thank you. Moving on to option 2, this would fill the vacancy through a special election. If the board chooses to hold a special election, in accordance with the charter, the special primary election must be held no earlier than 76 days and not more than 90 days following the adoption of the resolution calling the special election. A special primary election will be held on Tuesday, April 8th, 2025. If no candidate receives a majority at that election, then a special general election will be held on the 12th Tuesday after the special primary election, which is anticipated to be Tuesday, July 1st, 2025. The 2 candidates who received the highest number of votes in the special primary election would be the candidates in the special general election. This is a visual timeline of the special election process, showing the nomination period, sample ballot mailing, election dates, and certification of the results. If a special general election is required, the elected supervisor could be sworn in by August 1st at the latest. The board would need to call a special meeting during the summer recess to certify the election and have the supervisor-elect sworn in. As part of this option, the board may also consider the method to administer the election. The 2 options are the traditional vote center model or the all vote by mail. There are cost considerations for both methods, and you can see the operational differences listed on the slide. The vote center model is approximately $900,000 more per election than the all vote by mail method. If the board chooses this option, then it is recommended that the board take the actions outlined in the board letter and listed on this slide to adopt the resolution to call the special election and provide direction on the method to conduct the special election. Subject to any questions, I'll move on to describe the third option. Finally, the board may consider a third option, which would be to make an interim appointment until a special election. Essentially, the processes described for both options 1 and 2 would happen concurrently. The cost would be the same as the special election option. This option would provide representation for District 1 residents until the election of a successor. I would note, as the Vice Chair asked, the recommended timeline shown on the slide provides for the special election nomination period to be closed prior to the board selection of an interim appointment. If an earlier timeline is selected, the interim appointment would be prior to the nomination deadline. If the board chooses this option, then it is recommended that the board take the actions outlined in the board letter and listed on the slide to approve the process, approve the application, set the dates for the hearings, adopt the resolution to call the special election, and provide direction on the method to conduct the special election. In summary, the board has 3 options to consider: fill the vacancy by appointment, through a special election, or appoint an interim supervisor until a special election. The next slide will show the recommended timelines for each of these options. Staff recommends the timelines that are listed on the slide for each of the options. And with that, Vice Chair, this concludes the presentation, and I'm happy to answer any questions you might have.
Thank you so much. Do any of my colleagues have any questions? Okay. If no one has any questions, then now we will turn it over to the public for public comment. Since we have over 20 speakers, time will be limited to 1.5 minutes. Andrew, please call the first speaker.
Thank you, Vice Chair Lawson-Remer. We have 26 requests to speak on this item, 13 in person and 13 requesting to speak by phone. Also note for the record that we received 22 e-comments, 5 in favor, 4 in opposition, and 5 neutral. Any individuals that requested to speak on this item by phone, please dial into the conference line using the instructions that were provided to you. We'll begin with the in-person speakers, starting with those in favor of this item. As your name is called, please come forward and stand on the arrows until it is your turn to speak at the podium. I will be calling you in groups of 3, so I will ask you to please listen for your name. I'd like to invite for the following individuals: Vanessa Regosa, Patricia Mondragon, and Marco Espinosa. If I've called your name, please come forward. You'll have 1.5 minutes to address the board. We'll ask you to please begin by stating your name for the audio record.
Thank you. Okay. Hello, my name is Vanessa Regosa. I have been a county employee for 7 years and a proud SEIU 221 member. We are urging you to set a special election to fill the position for District 1. We should be given a chance to vote for someone that will fight for us, someone who will show they are truly here for us and not only fight for District 1's residents, but know the importance of fighting for all San Diego County residents, regardless of race, income, or immigration status. We cannot risk someone to be appointed that will only fight for certain people. Someone who acknowledges the importance of county workers whom all serve the people in each and every one of your districts. We need someone who understands that just because you're from the community doesn't mean you're for the community. The residents of District 1 deserve to choose someone they feel is right for them. The ones that it will affect should be the ones whose voices should be heard, and to vote for whom will represent them. Thank you.
Thank you. Next speaker, please.
Good afternoon, Board. Patricia Mondragon with Alliance San Diego. We urge the Board to call a special election and allow the voters of District 1 to choose their representative for the 4-year term that began just 1 week ago. District 1 is the most diverse district in both geography and population. The nearly 650,000 D1 residents understand their district best and are owed the right to choose their representative. Having 4 supervisors who do not live in district decide the next supervisor goes against the very principles of democracy. Voting is a human right and a fundamental part of a healthy democracy. We cannot put a price tag on democracy or the people's right to enfranchisement. Providing voters with the opportunity to exercise their human right to vote is good governance. We urge this board to exercise good governance and call for a special election, as you did in 2023 for the D1 vacancy, which was the right decision. We urge you to make the right decision today. Thank you.
As the next speaker is coming forward, I'd like to invite the remaining speakers in favor: Elizabeth Sanchez and Danielle Meganson. If I've called your name, please come forward.
Hello, my name is Marco Espinoza. I'm just here representing myself as a constituent. This is only my second time ever actually doing something of this forum, so I apologize. I am a little nervous. I am a born and raised San Diegan. Spent my entire life in District 1 from Chula Vista. Currently live in Otay Mesa West, Nestor. Registered voter, did vote for Nora Vargas. Per the options, I don't like option 1. I do like option 2. Option 3, I would consider it, but I was asked the board what between now and when someone could be appointed by special election, not by appointment. What faces the board, what comes before you. Clearly, as there's already, as I understand, been 2 votes and it's been a 2-2, so it's a tie break. Who do the people trust of District 1 to allow you to decide on where measures go? So that's my concern about the appointment for option 3. I apologize. I think I'm drawing a blank, but my time has soon come to an end now. Thank you very much for your time, and I look forward to seeing how the process plays out. Thank you.
Thank you. Next speaker, please.
Good afternoon, Supervisors. My name is Donier Meganson. I am a community organizer with the San Diego Organizing Project, and I am going to be speaking on behalf of the San Diego Organizing Project and also as a resident of District 1. So on behalf of the San Diego Organizing Project, we would like to see a special election because this gives the people of District 1 the control of who they want to see in that seat. And this is also the truest and the fairest form of democracy. And so we're hoping that you can keep this very powerful decision in the hands of the most capable voters and the people who will be the residents who are living there, and giving them the voice and the power that they deserve to make that decision. And we thank you for that.
Thank you. Final call for Elizabeth Sanchez. Okay.
Hola, buenos días.
Hello, good morning.
Mi nombre es Elizabeth Sánchez.
And my name is Elizabeth Sanchez,
Soy miembro del proyecto organizador de San Diego.
and I am a member of the project, the organization project of San Diego,
Como residente del Distrito 1,
and I'm a resident of District 1.
es nuestro derecho que nosotros elijamos a nuestro representante.
It is our right that we need to choose who our representative should be.
Es nuestra decisión por medio de nuestro voto.
And it is our decision through our vote.
La comunidad debe decidir quién nos represente.
And it is the community who needs to decide who will represent us.
Y no es correcto que otros decidan por nosotros.
And it is not correct that others decide for us.
Gracias.
And thank you.
Thank you. Now I'd like to invite the speakers in opposition. Call for the first 3 speakers. Allegedly Audra, Robert, and a speaker slip with the Admiral. I'll call your name. Please come forward. And again, please state your name for the audio record.
Robert. Hope that's satisfactory. So I'm from Chula Vista. I am a member of District 1. There's a lot of different concepts behind appointing people to having us appoint our elected representative, right, by election. You know, seeing that you guys can't agree on much, I don't see you guys agreeing on someone to do an appointment, let alone pick the right person to represent my city, Chula Vista. There's some officials, mayors, other people who are already claiming they're running in this race, which hasn't even been decided yet. You know, it's very unprofessional of them to not allow you guys to make your decision on what's going to happen with voting or appointment, right? So it's very disrespectful to us that they're already jumping the gun on you guys and trying to play the people for the piece of work they are. John McCann's one of them. but he's not saying he's going to run in that sense. He said he would be interested. There's other people that are already probably collecting campaign money for Act Blue, right? There's a lot of conflict of interest with Act Blue and people running off of the government position to run fundraisers to fund their own parties right now, in case you're not aware of it. I'm running out of time. I think it was too short with the time limit.
Thank you. Next speaker, please.
Good afternoon, board members. My name is the Admiral. I served in the Navy, and what I'm hearing the people say is they want a special election, and that's all I'm going to say.
Thank you. As the next speaker is coming forward, I'd like to invite 3 additional speakers, Consuelo, Mark, and Paul the Bold. I've called your name. Please come forward.
My person uses the name Audra. We should have had more time. I do appreciate 1.5 minutes, but it should be 2 minutes for such a thing like this, and it's only like 50 minutes you'd have to spend, and you guys aren't even, most of you, paying attention. So, and it's true that you guys can't, pick something, like you can't even decide who could be chair. So you shouldn't be the ones determining and disenfranchising District 1 by installing somebody that you guys prefer, because the people should be represented by somebody who they want. And in fact, Nora Vargas should be the one fitting the bill, because there was already an election, they voted her in, and now people have to come and do this again. And, the last time when Monica was running, there were triplicate ballots sent out. So I don't think that you should be doing all vote by mail. That is how the votes get usurped, and a lot of fraud comes into play. And you can't just say, well, we're only going to count one ballot. Which ballot is that? One that somebody else filled out, or the one that the person filled out? And, it should be a handwritten, hand-counted paper ballot. We shouldn't be using machines either, because there's also corruption in the machines through frogs in the back door. So I think if you guys really care about what the people think, then you should do what's best for the people and not be the ones determining who you're going to put in that seat. And I think you guys need to start thinking about working together more, as opposed to always, it's like you don't have to agree on everything, but you can agree on some things.
Thank you. Next speaker, please.
Hi, Paul the Bold. The person who will fill the District 1 seat will face 2 huge challenges: the big 1.6% or so budget deficit, and the TJ River Valley air and sewage. And the budget, by the way, you should have set up adequate reserves when I told you. There's also the issue of homelessness and growing criminal activity brought to us by the San Diego mayor, pushing them out to the rest of the county. Sunbreak Ranch proposal for a large congregate camp with job, medical, and psychological facilities right there would be great help. But whoever you appoint, and we do need someone until the election, not just another helpline, should not be beholden to any party line. I wonder if Nora's opponent, Alejandro Galicia, is still available. As a businessman, he should be able to address the deficit. Catherine Rhodes would also be a good choice. Party politics is what probably got you the deficit in the first place, and this is definitely a government we do not need. Also, deferring decisions until you have people from the right party. Government should be about making logical decisions.
Thank you. Next speaker, please.
Okay, Consuelo here. So first off, I wanted to point out how, it is in fact funny how such an important item, you give the people 90 seconds to speak. It's not like anybody in the county is really engaged, and that simple fact is just, it's kind of ridiculous. Another thing, more money, millions of dollars. Yeah, Nora Vargas should foot the bill. This is all, again, it's seamless. It's seamless how you guys, it's just how it's being played, you know, how she did it, when she did it, and now the taxpayers have to pay for a special election because that's how it's going to go. What else did I want to say? I also wanted to point out, too, hopefully the media will get to you know, we have these dates. Hopefully the media will be able to enroll the county to be involved. Their viewers need to know this. This is something that everybody should be participating in, and not just the same few who are paying close attention, but everyone. Just to see how it is that these legislators are selected, not elected. So that's pretty messed up that millions will be wasted.
Thank you. As the next speaker is coming up, I'd like to invite the final speaker in person, Omar Areza.
Mark, it's pretty absurd, Tara, that you couldn't give people 2 minutes when there's one agenda item. It's like 30 seconds longer with 17 people. What is that? Another 8 minutes out of your day? Yep. It'd be like an hour instead of 45 minutes or something. Anyway. It's obvious that you guys are going to be landlocked, and in a way I think that's good because there's so much totalitarian stuff that happens constantly with this board that I would like to see you not appoint anyone and just have the special election later. I think that would be ideal. It's sad because normally I would say, I'd like to say, you know, yeah, they have a right to be represented, but 3/4 of California is conservative, and in case you didn't notice, the map just completely whip red, just totally. And I'm not left or right. There's things I really don't like about Trump. Especially when he signed the USMCA Chapter 30, signing away our rights over trade and immigration to a foreign unelected council we only have one American member on. So it's not like I'm a Republican. But yeah, you have to have a special election, obviously. It's the only thing that's fair. And I think it's great that you guys are just locked against each other until then. Maybe you won't be able to pass a bunch of crap that screws everyone until an election.
Thank you. Next speaker, please.
Greetings, and thank you for allowing us to speak. I love South Bay. I grew up in South Bay.
Can you please state your name for the record?
Oh, my apologies. My name is Omar Areza, and a resident of District 8. One of the things that I just wanted to say is that what got us here won't get us to a very positive thing, because this is the second time that we've been able to, or going to be able to, do a special election or fill another seat, which is costing resources to be diverted, like that could go to the Tijuana Sewage River crisis, and hopefully the. And one of the things that I just wanted to mention to you is we need to rethink the way this process is going. Start thinking about ranked choice voting. Because if we're going to have a special election, which I truly support and a lot of the residents in South Bay support, is that we don't need to keep having multiple elections. I think, we can vote once, put in multiple, candidates, and allow that process to work. I know it's worked in the past for other places. I just heard San Francisco had ranked choice voting, and I think that's one of the things that we need to reconsider. This is not a big opportunity to move forward with the way new processes need to happen. Our community has really been impacted, and I don't want to see this being slowed down. I just want to see a very positive output. And I just want to say thank you for everything that you have done, who are on the board. Thank you.
Thank you. We'll now hear from those that requested to speak by phone. When it is your turn to speak, you will be unmuted and you will hear a recording that will tell you to begin your comments after the beep. I'll remind the callers they should mute their TV or live video stream before they begin speaking. We will start with our first caller.
Hello, this is Catherine Rhodes, and I want to say that I think you should do option 3 and pick someone now for the 5 months before somebody is going to actually be elected probably on July 1st. And then I live in Chair Lawson Reamer's district, but I'm asking you to consider voting for me for this position for the 5 months or 6 months that'll be available. And some of the reasons for that, I'm a registered civil engineer here in the state of California. I've worked on many jobs in Chula Vista, all of Otay Mesa, all the housing over there in Otay Mesa for the border area. I worked at Brownfield. I worked for some Border Patrol headquarters down there. And for the Tijuana River Valley, I've kept myself updated on all of that and all the issues at Sandig as it relates to the border. And so anyway, very much believe that there should be a special election. And if I'm for consideration, I would actually move to, I'd get a 6-month lease and move to District 1, just to be in District 1, because I think I could do so much good for all of you.
Thank you. We'll now hear from the next caller.
Kevin Stevenson. Well, it looks like the rational people and the crazy people have a consensus, although albeit for different motives. I definitely support a special election. I do believe that is the most democratic means of finding a new county supervisor for District 1, because I think it went pretty well in 2023 when District 4 had a vacancy. Historically, people tend to like being able to pick their own representative versus having an appointment. I mean, it is disappointing that District 1 likely won't have any representation for a few months, but hey, it's just the matter of the procedure of getting a special election together. So, yeah, personally, I'm in favor of option 2. I just think that's the best way to go forward. Thank you.
Thank you. Now hear from the next caller.
Good afternoon. This is Madison Rapp. Thank you for the opportunity to address you by phone here. I also want to throw my support behind a special election. I just wanted to advocate for allowing the public to have a voice in filling the vacancy for the seat in District 1. Our democratic system thrives on transparency and accountability, and empowering the public to decide who leads us in a direction is a reflection of these values. The Board of Supervisors plays a critical role in shaping the direction of our community, and it is essential that those decisions come not only from elected representatives, but also from the people that they serve. By having a public vote, we ensure that the leadership is not just decided behind closed doors, but is an open, inclusive process that aligns with the will of the community. It also fosters greater trust in government, knowing that the position of leadership is determined by those who are most affected by the policies and decisions of this board, who are the citizens. I urge you to consider the long-term benefits of this approach: more trust in the board, greater engagement, stronger community ties, and a leadership that truly reflects the voice of the people. Thank you.
Thank you. Now hear from the next caller.
Good afternoon. This is Peggy Walker. I support a special election with appointments until that election and suggest, please, that the interim appointment should be a new voice. I support Jim Desmond. For too long, board chairmanship has been dominated by a special interest group that has seemed to stymie alternative views, promote divisiveness, and incite so much drama. We're worn out from this contentiousness that seems to underlie so many board actions. We're ready for change, a new outlook, and a moderate voice. Someone who can be inclusive, consider alternative ideas, and promote fair debate. Although he is not my district supervisor, I strongly support Jim Desmond as the interim chair for his fair, reasonable, and balanced approach until we can have a special election in July. Thank you.
Thank you. We'll now hear from the next caller.
Hi, Stephanie Becker. I think that we should do option 3 and do an appointment. You can appoint me. I live in District 1. I speak to the community. I've organized a community meeting. We need to be heard. I have watched the unincorporated area of District 1 fall deeper and deeper into disrepair. The homeless situation has grown. Crime has grown. We have had no representation. When Vargas was in there, you could barely get a meeting with her. She didn't want to hear the people. Monica Montgomery Stepp represents the other side of Spring Valley, which is unincorporated, and somebody has to be able to work in conjunction with her. This has to be a community effort. Right now, we have a Board of Supervisors. I will never accept that you guys just appoint somebody. Even at this meeting, Joel Anderson is on his phone. If nobody can give the constituents the proper attention and respect, why would you expect that from the people? The people need to be heard. So I recommend that you do an appointment and then do a special election. With that said, I think that everybody needs to be vetted and make sure that they live in District 1, not that they just maintain a residence in District 1 and live in Tijuana. That's not acceptable. We need the people's voices heard. There are problems in District 1, and it has been ignored for too long. It's time you all do your job. Jim Desmond is the most sensible person on that Board of Supervisors, and I would love to be able to speak to Supervisor Stepp, but that has yet to happen in a year's time.
Thank you. Now hear from the next caller.
Gambler here. How you guys doing? I don't think it really matters one way or another. We have an election. Hell, if we have an election at the poll site, Governor Newsom decided to make sure that no one could check IDs. Now, that ID rule was put in play way back when during redlining, but, you know, we might as well keep it going on now because people could cheat off of it. The great thing is that I put in a PIR basically telling people how to commit voter fraud. That is on your website. May 23rd, the last time Monica went over there, I explained to people how to commit election fraud. So I definitely understand that people handling the homeless population, it fills out multiple ballots, and they are able to funnel a lot of the money through the county into them. And our Board of Supervisors, all 4 of them, have no problem funneling the money over to them as long as they could stay in office. That is why none of them want to take a look at the signatures. So I don't know what the answer is. I'm looking forward to in 4 days because I'm sure Trump is going to go ahead and look into the voter fraud, and everything I've been saying, and you guys have been blocking it, is going to come up to fruition. I'm praying. And if it doesn't, I'm going to run and use my retirement money that I have saved and put billboards telling people how to.
Thank you. Now hear from the next caller.
It's truth, 1 minute, 30 seconds. Tara the Tyrant just can't do a respectful 2 minutes, not even for a special election. Nora wanted to flee long ago, but she waited until after the election so Gleason wouldn't be handed the seat. Abandoning her constituents was selfish. Tara's hoping to get Paloma into the seat, hence the past political theater press conferences they did, and now the media push. Nathan Sling cost the county $4.5 million. Then he used the tax dollars from his campaign fund to pay for his lawyers. Now he's seeking restitution in order to steal more tax dollars. Nora's Sling will cost the county up to another $6.6 million. I demand Nora personally fund this election, or the San Diego Democratic Party can fund this election because their minions have caused nothing but legal and financial troubles for the entire county. Nora's also cost the county $250,000 in taxpayer-funded personal security. But keep in mind that Tara's already cost us over $45,000 as well. So I also demand an apology from the San Diego Democratic Party. It's been an embarrassment to the party, to the county, and to the country, and it needs to stop. No to rigged ranked choice voting or voting by mail, too. What's true is that nobody anywhere trusts you supervisors to make any decisions for anybody. And South Bay deserves real representation. Do not dare try to appoint anyone to the seat to steal the people's voice. But if anyone was going to be a handpicked appointment, it should be between Galicia Amir or Catherine Rhodes. I even had one person in the YouTube chat room nominate me, and I think we should get a head start.
Thank you. We'll now hear from the next caller.
Well said.
Good afternoon, Board of Supervisors. I'd like to express my support for a special election. I think it's a concern that it won't occur until July, and that's 6 months away. However, I would hope that we have enough cooperation among that office's staff that the people will still have a place to call in. District 1 is a special place to our family. My husband was raised there. It's where we returned after we graduated from college and have happy memories. We continue to be shocked that that wonderful, beautiful area has suffered such unclean air and water, and it would be our hope that as we consider a Board of Supervisors, that they will put the priority of the health of District 1 first. If you don't have your health, you don't have anything, and it seems to have fallen off the most important list of items of concern for our residents. We need not to have people driven by a political party platform. We need to have those who take a look at District 1 and understand that quality of life matters the most to us. And so, again, I support the idea of a special election, and I'm hopeful that Nora's staff is up to the job until July to fill in so that our people have a place they can go and be heard, at least by the staff. Thank you.
And can you please state your name for the record?
Ann Riddle.
Thank you. We'll now hear from the next caller.
Good afternoon, Board of Supervisors. My name is Terry Ann Skelly. I'm a parent, a public health educator, and a county planning group attendee. As a supporter for county policies that support our youth and young adults, I think it presents the best example to young people to hold a special election. My grave concern, and those of other advocates for youth, is that the potential candidates will consider the welfare first of our youth and our young people of District 1 who are struggling. We hope the candidates will truly represent our families and not a political party, as it seems it has in the past. We need clean air and water and parks and many, many more public places. Thank you for hearing my concerns this morning.
Thank you. Vice Chair Lawson-Remer, that concludes public comment on this item.
Okay, thank you very much. Supervisor Jim Desmond.
Thank you, Madam Vice Chair. Appreciate it. I'd like to just kick this off with a motion for option 2, a special election. The residents of District 1 deserve an opportunity to elect their next representative for nearly a full 4-year term through a transparent, democratic process and not a political appointment. Unfortunately, we faced this decision before, and I think we made the right choice. We allowed the people to decide with a fair election. So now with Supervisor Vargas stepping down, I think we should do the same. I recognize, though, and we all recognize, that this special election comes with a cost. When Fletcher resigned, the election expense was $5 million. And it's probably going to be the same or more this time around. But the cost of democracy is invaluable. The right to choose representatives in this case should remain with the people they serve, not decided by the remaining members of this board. As we begin this year, let's reaffirm our commitment to fairness and accountability. And I'd like to urge my colleagues to join me in advocating for a special election, ensuring that every voice in District 1 is heard, respected, and represented by a person of their choice. So I have a motion put forward for option 2, a special election.
Supervisor Montgomery Stepp.
Thank you so much. I would like to second that motion. Over a year ago, I stood on the other side of this dais and advocated for the same. That at that time, based on the resignation of the previous supervisor in this seat, that this board would choose to conduct a special election. And I believe that that is the right thing to do, and also that we should be consistent. And so I would like to second the motion. It really is painful to look at the cost of this. We have a lot of decisions moving forward with regard to our budget, and there are a lot of unknowns here at the county right now with the change in administration and just, everything that we're going to have to anticipate in the years moving forward. But I really, really would be very uncomfortable choosing representation for a group of over 630,000 residents. It is important for those folks to choose who will represent them on this dais and who will make decisions that will impact their quality of life for years to come. And so I would like to second the motion. Thank you very much.
Supervisor Anderson, do you have any thoughts or comments?
I'm eager to vote.
Okay. I just will take a moment to express my support for the motion on the floor. I agree. It is very unfortunate, the cost of this to our county, especially given our current fiscal environment. I think it's a huge blow, but ultimately, the price of democracy is invaluable. And I think we have an obligation to ensure that the voices of the people of District 1 are heard, and that the folks who live there, nearly 700,000 people, have representation on the board that reflects the majority of those voters, and that's not something that we can do. So, I have full faith and confidence that over the next 6 months or so, as this process unfolds, we as a board will be able to come together and make tough decisions. And I think that our county is going to be able to continue doing the important work to serve our community. I do trust and have faith in my fellow board members that we can do this work even when that seat is absent. So happy to support that as well. So Andrew, would you please call the vote? Oh, Supervisor Desmond, you're up again.
Yeah, sorry, nothing's easy. Apparently, with option 2, there's two choices, option A and B. One is to conduct the election wholly by mail, exclusively by mail, or the option B is to utilize existing method of conducting elections that has both a vote center model and a mail model as well. I'd like to go with option B that has both options. As part of the motion.
I concur with that as a second.
Okay, thank you very much. Supervisor Anderson, did you? Fabulous. See how well we're all getting along and collaborating. I think we're demonstrating our ability to work together. So with that, we have a motion and a second. Andrew, please call the roll.
Vice Chair Lawson-Remer, that motion passes unanimously with all supervisors being present and voting aye.
Okay, thank you very much. So now we move on to the last item, which is the closed session agenda. We have an item on number 2, which is the closed session matter. If any of my colleagues have a comment, if not, I will go to public comment. Okay. Andrew, how many speakers do we have?
Thank you, Vice Chair Lawson-Remer. We have 8 requests to speak on closed session matters, 4 in person and 4 requesting to speak by phone. Also note that we received 2 e-comments. Any individuals that requested to speak on the closed session matter by phone, please dial into the conference line using the instructions that were provided to you. We'll begin with the in-person speakers. All speakers are in opposition. As your name is called, please come forward and stand on the arrows until it is your turn to speak. You'll have 2 minutes to address the board, and I'll ask you to please state your name for the audio record. I'd like to invite forward allegedly Audra, Consuelo, Paul the Bold, and Mark. I've called your name. Please come forward.
Paul the Bold. Any vote should be in person, not by mail. There's too much fraud that could happen by mail. I'm not sure whether you are simply wasting time with your
Can we pause this time for a moment?
Yeah.
Thank you. Just a reminder to please speak on the closed session item. So Claudia, could you let us know, was this comment on topic for closed session? He seemed to be talking about voting by mail.
Yeah, I didn't think one sentence would really matter, but I guess it does. Anyway,
Okay, thank you. You can start his time again.
Not sure whether you're simply wasting time on this closed session. The agenda should be a bit more specific on what it is and how serious it is, since I would suggest that at this phase especially, you could use non-legal help from the public before the lawyers take over. I see that this is District 1 stuff. Since there's no rep for District 1, I'm wondering who will even conduct this case. Now, the guessing game. Is it about Nora's vote to put off the Superfund stuff? Since this was in fact rejected, I would say she was right. You should admit it. Is it about Nora's lies and other abusive behavior? She was wrong and you should settle this ASAP. Or is it about a personal grievance, like calling several of us out for non-disruptive clapping between speakers, not interrupting the actual conduct of the meeting? Since the Brown Act allows this, I would suggest you settle. Thanks for listening.
Thank you. Next speaker, please.
My person uses the name Audra, so with anticipated litigation, it is a wonder if this has to do with Nora's decision, and your guys' actually, but for her to bring forward the super sanctuary status agenda item that you guys passed. And, you know, it is sad to see that Claudia is our county representative for everything legal, and you're not even, you know, informing the board that that decision is actually against the law, to aid and abet, and it's treason. So, I mean, I don't know if you should be fired, because you're also telling people that what free speech is, and that, like, we can't just say certain things, and we have to address. So, I mean, you're not really acting in the best interest of the county if you're not going to tell these individuals that they are facing federal charges, and even yourself. So why would you do that? Why would you not be honest with these people? Because, I mean, if Tom Coleman comes in here, and the federal government does, and gives you guys all a jail cell, like I was talking about, then you are negligent and you're not doing your job, and saying that you are putting yourselves at risk right now. It's very disturbing, because those are federal charges, like treason even. You guys take an oath. You took an oath, and you're not even abiding by it. And you're going to cost the county, us, the people that pay for everything, even your salary, more money. Especially if he came in and took all of you out. Then we would have to replace every single one of you for those choices. So it would behoove you to do the right thing, and if you aren't aware that that is illegal, that's a frickin' problem. That you're the one determining what is legal and what isn't. So you should be fired for that reason.
Next speaker, please.
Mark, regarding litigation, 54956.9, and in fact, right now there's a Brown Act violation going on, and it's not a small one. This would be a good thing, a request to speak online, if it was an option besides what we have, or if there was a digital option here at the meeting where people did not have to give an email address or a phone number. Unfortunately, without that, this being the only option, says coming soon. Coming soon means there will be no Brown Act anonymity. And the Brown Act specifically gives us anonymity. We don't have to use our name. We don't have to give our address. If you have to use an email, or you have to call in on a phone number that's got your phone number, your anonymity is gone. This is a huge violation. Claudia, now that's obvious. You can see that, right? Are you going to say something, please? Because to have this is the only way to sign up gets rid of anonymity and intimidates the hell out of the public. And there's no way that's okay. Would you agree with that, Claudia? You can't even, this is common horse sense. I could ask an 8-year-old, they would know the answer. I could ask every other person alive. That's the reason the Brown Act has anonymity. So I have a huge problem with that. And I am glad you gave us 2 minutes to speak on this. It should never be any less. So many topics are incredibly important. And to have less than 2 minutes is, there's very little you could say about any important topic in less than 2 minutes and make any valid points.
Next speaker, please.
Okay. So Consuelo here. Okay, so litigation, vague. I could basically speak on what you guys possibly could be getting sued for. Yeah? I want to stay on topic.
Can you pause your time for 1 moment, please? Claudia, will you restate for the record, to clarify for the speaker's question, exactly how to stay on topic with this particular closed session item?
Okay. This particular closed session item is related to significant exposure to litigation. Therefore, the comment should be addressed to significant matters of significant exposure to litigation.
Significant exposure to litigation. Got it. Okay, so that is significant exposure, like being wasteful with our tax dollars and having somebody use our money, like $42,000 a month on security, and yet she is claiming that she's leaving her position due to her being afraid for her security. When she had $42,000 a month of our money being spent on security, got it? Or is it like, it could be anything, you know? And that's the thing. That's what I wish people would chime in and see where our money's going and see what we're paying for. Now that this corrupt person is gone, we have to foot the bill for another person coming in, another chosen person coming in. It's, this is all so backwards. I wish more people would really start paying attention. Anyways, thanks.
Thank you. We'll now hear from the individuals that requested to speak by phone. We will start with our first caller.
Hello, this is Catherine Rhodes. I'm thinking that this litigation might be due to homeless issues. And a lot of people dying and a lot of people with serious mental illness dying on the streets homeless. I have a solution for the homeless problem. And what I'm looking for in one of you is a champion, so we could get rid of this significant exposure to litigation of all the unnecessary deaths. When there's money and a solution to be able to do this all without raising taxes. The only thing I'm looking for in order to have this solution, so you don't have exposure to litigation, is a champion. One of you county supervisors that will look at my issue and champion it. Right now, I was talking to the Office of Chair Lawson Reamer, the gentleman in charge of homeless, and I'm going to be sending him my information. And so I'm hoping that my supervisor or any other supervisor looks into being a champion of this. And one of the main things is, so we don't have to do, the city of San Diego doesn't have to spend like the $60 million at Hope and Vine. When we could have the same 1,000 people over at Silver Strand State Beach. And in the meantime, what we could do for funding is get funding so we could upgrade that state park. And that state park is old. It seems like it was maybe built in the 60s or in the 70s, and it hasn't really been upgraded since. Maybe one or two small little places, but the majority of it is not that nice. It's very old. We could do a full upgrade on that.
Thank you. Now hear from the next caller.
Hey, it's Truth. It's another anticipated litigation case. Everybody knows why you guys keep getting sued. Inaccurate legal advice from county council is one big reason. As long as unlimited free speech First Amendment rights are threatened by the county will be threatened by lawsuits, which will set case precedents to ensure that the county can never again engage in the unlawful attempts to censor the people's voices. The Brown Act violations are going to have to stop. It's not something to be resolved through a political theater powwow session. It's going to get resolved either through litigation or through new leadership. The current one has done nothing but cause lawsuit after lawsuit after lawsuit. I did also encourage people to sue you guys. If Lori Saldana can get a $15,000 settlement from the city of San Diego, then many, many people could easily win a settlement from the county due to the unlawful censorship that's been going on and other various horrible misbehaviors. That is why I'm going to start advocating for an amendment to the state and national constitutions that specifically state that any litigation that arises due to the actions of a single person in public office will be paid for solely by that person. No more tax dollars going to pay for corrupt officials' illegal actions. That would be an effective means of deterring and stopping the unlawful words, behaviors, and actions of people like Tara and Claudia. And another reason why the county could be facing another lawsuit. You supervisors tried to deplete the county's reserves with a multi-million-dollar pre-planned deal with UCSD. Good thing that failed. Otherwise, how else would the county be able to afford yet another special election? Or even a future third one coming later for Tara. And Andrew and Tara, make sure you're both listening this time. Neither Trump nor Homan are going to be the saviors of this county or the country. To believe something different is delusional. This litigation is not about that and is never going to be about that. What would help stop litigation in Hillis County? An apology from this entire board.
Thank you. Now hear from the next caller.
Gambler here. How you guys doing? God. I really don't want to sue you guys. I really don't. But you guys have a restraining order on me for bullshit reasons, like completely utter. And you guys, the board, 4 of you guys all took off the meeting to throw me in jail. So, I'm just kind of curious, is this about Michael Vu, the $5 million case, because the DEI case? Because obviously we have a DEI problem. LA is burning up as a result of that, because apparently, gay people could go ahead and act like firefighters because they want to. Not because that they have the skills to or anything like that. They just want to wear the costume and get butt fucked in the place. I don't understand. And if you are in a place that you need to be saved, it's not their duty to save you. You should have never gotten to that position in the first place. These kinds of things are kind of fucked up. But you know what? As long as we have a faulty election, we'll just keep on re-electing these people. I'm so glad that ACLU is going to be able to choose another board member. Glad that the cartel is getting involved in this and kicked out Nora Vargas. And apparently the cartel has something to do with Todd Gloria, why he needs security. So I'm looking forward to the cartel getting pissed off at you guys because Trump is trying to close up our border, and they're going to force you guys to go against the federal government. I'm going to look forward to that. And if I hear something terrible happens, just deserts. It's my opinion on that. It's like, okay, great. The cartel is going after our board members because we're trying to shut down the border.
Thank you. Vice Chair Lawson-Remer, that concludes public comment on the closed session matters.
Thank you very much. This concludes the open portion of this meeting. With that, the board will adjourn to closed session.
The board will now recess into closed session to consider the matter listed under item 2 on today's special meeting agenda. If there are any reportable actions, they will be reported out after the conclusion of closed session today.